tila kilala ng isa sa pinaka-controversial na pangalan ang pilotong nagdala kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte sa ICC Detention Center na tila tampulan ngayon ng samot-saring diskusyon kung paano daw nito tinanggap ang trabahong isuko ang dating Pangulo sa banyagang husgado. Kinilala ang nasabing piloto na walang iba kundi si Captain John Gula ang taong responsable sa pagdala kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte sa Netherlands, kung saan noong March 11, 2025 nagimbal ang taong bayan sa mga susunod-sunod na nangyayari bukod sa controversial ang eroplanong natila na-identify as private owned na siyang inupuan ng gobyerno para maging kasangkapan ng pag-aresto kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Tila mas nagulat pa ang taong bayan na ang nasabing piloto ay isa pala sa mga mista or schoolmate ng noy dating PNP chief na ngayon ay senator na walang iba kundi si Senator Bato de la Rosa. Ayon sa naging full Facebook post ng Muslim Filipino ngayon sa kanilang official Facebook page, Hudas pala, who would have thought? These pictures were taken many years ago showing then PNP Director General Bato de la Rosa, now Senator and his Mista Cap Johnny Gula, pilot in command of RPC 5219, a Gulfstream G550 aircraft registered with Pacific Asian Pearl Airways Incorporation, which flew the former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte to The Hague. How ironic what some people can do for 30 pieces of silver, just like Hudas. Sadly, the good senator did not even know till the second Senate hearing that his Mista was complicit with all the others. He may just be the driver of the aircraft, but he is an accomplice to the crime of kidnapping a Filipino citizen and taking him on the other side of the globe to the International Criminal Court in The Hague without regard for due process. The pilot must need his job with San Miguel Corporation's Ramon, and so bad that he couldn't even refuse the job of helping in the transfer of the former president, tantamount to a kidnapping and eventually division of a nation together with the government poses. There will always be time for reckoning. Cap Johnny Gula, always boycott all San Miguel products and go. Matapos
medyo good news itong pag-usapan natin, yung kaso ni PRRD sa ICC. So gumugulong na po yung proseso. Magaling po ang defense team ni Pangulong Duterte. Yung mga alleged victims, 43. Ang kampo ng dating Pangulo natin naghumiling sa pre-trial chamber na magkakaroon ng stricto, stringent measures to verify their identification. Sino-sino yung 43? Dapat ma-identify, magpakita ng ID. Ang sagot naman ng abogado, ICC listed counsel, wala daw ID. Dahil mga pobre. Ano ba yan? Pwede ba yung maging Filipino citizen ka, hindi ka magsilbi na wala kang ID, kahit nasa liblib kang lugar, kailangan mo ngayon ng ID. Okay, ito. Post ni Edwin Hamora, 51 minutes ago. Sabi niya, walang ID, walang kwento. Para bang security guard, no ID, no entry. Pag wala kang may pakitang ID, hindi ka makapasok sa compound, sa eskwelahan. Ganun din. So, itong kaso na ito, dapat may pakita nila yung ID, identification, sino-sino yung 43. Okay, basahin natin ang post na. Ni Edwin Hamora. According, may isa pa pala. Kasi ang basihan ni Edwin Hamora, mayroong post ang Inquirer, ABS-CBN News, post niya. Sabi dito, an ICC listed counsel said the victims of the previous administration's drug war are the poorest of the poor. Okay, post ito ng ABS-CBN, poorest of the poor who lack identification cards or professional licenses in response to the camp of Rodrigo Duterte's request for stringent verification rules in victims' identification via INC 24/7 Duterte in ICC. Okay, so basahin natin itong post ni Edwin Hamora. Anong pinagsasabi nito, Dodong? How convenient naman. Ito ba yung 30,000 na patong-patong na dead na hindi makilala dahil puro pantasya? Nakainitan na excuse me ha, pero mukhang matagal nang hindi ata nakaapak sa barangay hall ang nagsabi nito. Kasi kahit na tambay sa kanto, na nagpa-blatter ng nawawalang pagkamahal-mahal na habanyas ay may barangay ID. Correct! May ID na. Lalo na ngayon na may mga ayuda, kailangan mong magpakita ng ID. Kahit tambay sa kanto, may ID. Yung nanay na kumukuha ng ayuda sa DSWD, required ang ID. Kahit relief goods, nagpapakita ng ID. So, saan banda ulit yung wala silang ID? Correct. Gusto kasi ng kampo ni Duterte na higpitan ang pag-verify ng mga biktima sa ICC. Kailangang may matinong ID para kukuha lang ng ayuda. Kasi nga naman, baka kung sino-sino lang ang magpakilalang biktima, baka may sumingit na multo. Isipin ninyo, nagsimula ang story na ito sa 30,000 na fiction story. Sa madaling sabi, kung wala kang government ID, sorry na lang. Kahit nabaril ka, hindi ka official na patay. Okay? Biro lang. But in the Philippines, you need an ID to receive ayuda. At lahat ng mga tao dito ay na-ID at merong ID. Okay, bago lang tayo nagkaroon ng pandemic, hindi ka makakuha ng ayuda. Yes, ayuda kung wala kang ID nung pandemic. Kaya, imposibleng wala kang ID. Kaya itong palusot ng abogado ng mga biktima, I don't know kung makakalusot ba sa, I hope na maging patas ang mga judges. Okay, magbasa tayo ng mga comments. Malu Alejandro, if poorest of the poor naka-enroll sa 4Ps, may ATM ng Land Bank, may ID. Correct. May ID. Correct, sabi ni Marites. Sabi ni Edwin Amora, hakahanak ng nainitan na yan. Di ba lawyer nila si Conti? Conti lang ang utak nun. Si Atty. Cristina Conti. Tama, kaya imposible, sabi ni Hads Nafa. Tama, kaya imposible na walang ID. Palusot lang nila yun. Mitch Soriano, pupunta ng rekto yan. Magpagawa. Alam niyo naman, basta rekto. Factor yan ano. Nostalgia. For your information, sa feeling charlatan ang ICC listed lawyer. Farmers kami and we are poor, pero may PhilHealth ID, TIN ID at National ID kami. Ito, farmer, nasa kanayunan. Tama. Kung wala kang PhilHealth ID, hindi ka naman makakatanggap ng kaunting benepisyo ng PhilHealth. Kaya halos lahat, mayroon ng ID. Estudyante, mayroon ka ring student ID. Ano ba? Indira, walang ID kasi pati mga sumakabilang buhay, isinali nila. Yun lang, problema. Pep MG, meron pa pang walang ID ngayon? Nice try. Sa katagal-tagal tumatanggap ng 4Ps, paano nakapag-payout? Yes, posible. Victor Sikoya, the court procedure is a must. ID are necessary to protect the court from making arbitrary decision. Every lawyer knows that. Citycare DL, poor din ako pero meron akong national ID. Kaya nga. Ay, nako. So, dito mo makikita, mahina ang kaso nila. So, these are signs na ang ating Tatay Digong may pag-asang makabalik. Okay? So, relax lang po tayo. Sabi ni Tatay Digong, there will always be a day of reckoning. Vote straight, PDP laban tayo. Good news po ang pag-usapan natin ngayon. Ang ating minamahal na Attorney Trixie Angeles, isa sa mga magigiting na DDS vloggers. Panalo po siya sa isang kaso sa Supreme Court. Sinampahan siya ng kaso sa Supreme Court. Kailan? Nagdesisyon na po ang Supreme Court. Panalo si Attorney Trixie Angeles at isa pang abogado na kasama niya. Okay. Ito, post ni Ibi Hugalbot 1 hour ago. Sabi niya, congrats, Attorneys Luminous by Trixie Cruz Angeles and Amid Pagdinawan. So, isinare ni Ibi Hugalbot ang post ng Batas PH. Basahin ko ang post, ha? The Supreme Court has dismissed the disbarment complaint against all lawyers who handled a case involving an expelled Iglesia ni Cristo minister for posting about the pending criminal cases, citing a lack of intent to cause undue influence on the judges who handled the case. Okay, so disbarment ito, ha, panalo. Ano ba yung mga disbarment? Itong si Larry Gadon. Atat na atat siya na may complaint siya kay BP Sara, disbarment. I think kahit atas si PRRD may isinampang disbarment sa kanya. I'm not sure Ito lang si Larry Gadon ang malala ko na nagsampa ng disbarment case against kay BP Sara. So dito, wala na, dismiss yung disbarment case. In a 12-page ruling penned by Associate Justice Ami Lazaro Javier. Huwag kalimutan, si Justice Xavier, yan ang hero natin sa PhilHealth issue. The Supreme Court, 2nd Division, has cleared Attorney Rose Beatriz Cruz Angeles and Attorney George Ahmed Paglinawan for violation of the Code of Professional Responsibility and Accountability. The case stemmed from a series of social media posts made by Attorney Cruz Angeles and Paglinawan, who were representing Isaias Samson Jr., a suspended minister of Iglesia ni Cristo, regarding the libel suit filed against him by the church. Accompanied by Attorney Cruz Angeles, Samson filed a complaint before the Department of Justice against INC church leaders. A few days later, Attorney Paglinawan made a Facebook post regarding the said criminal case. Attorney Cruz Angeles also made a post criticizing then President Benigno Aquino III, former DILG Secretary Mar Rojas, and ex-Justice Secretary Laila de Lima for not acting on the complaints they filed against INC. Thereafter, on various dates, multiple other posts were made on the Facebook account of Cruz Angeles, prompting Attorney Randy Serrano to initiate the filing of an administrative complaint against them. The Integrated Bar of the Philippines Commission on Bar Discipline recommended that Attorney Cruz Angeles be suspended for violating Canon 13, Rule 13, basta mga rule canon, of the Code of Professional Responsibility. Meanwhile, Attorney Paglinawan was cleared of any administrative sanctions. The IBP Board of Governors reversed the recommendation and dismissed the complaint, but imposed a fine of 15,000 each for Attorney Cruz Angeles and Attorney Paglinawan for failure to obey directives from the investigating commissioner. In affirming such resolution, the High Court noted that the content of the Facebook post of the respondents falls within the constitutional protection of freedom of expression. Wow! Talaga, no? Nakakatuwa ang Supreme Court. Malaki ang pagpapahalaga nila sa freedom of expression. Adding that a public utterance or publication should not be denied such constitutional protection merely because it concerns judicial proceedings still pending in court. More so, where the post, as in this case, do not appear to be prejudicial publications in relation to the pending cases, as there is no allegation that it caused undue influence on any of the judges who were made to decide the cases. Yun po ang paliwanag ng Supreme Court. On the posts regarding then President Aquino, Secretaries Rojas and de Lima, the court held that there was no showing that they are false, malicious, or unrelated to their official duties. As far as the second category of statements, it is well settled that criticism against government officials is protected unless it is false, malicious, or unrelated to a public officer's performance of his duties or irrelevant to matters of public interest involving public figures. Hence, respondents must be exonerated. It is clear from the foregoing that the subject statements are protected by freedom of speech. The subject statements were uttered in respondents' defense of their own client, either in a proper judicial proceedings and were thus absolutely privileged or in public invalid criticism of government officials. So, ito, basta public official ka, pwede kang batikusin. Basta yung batikos na yon within the bounds of the law pa rin. Okay? Walang malicious, walang defamation or anything. So, related ito sa isang kaso rin, Supreme Court decision ito na isang akusado, binatikos niya ang isang barangay kagawad. So, convicted siya sa lower court. Pagdating sa Supreme Court, na-dismiss yung kaso. So, ayun, may pag-asa pa ang ating hustisya. Buhay na buhay. Again, relating to PRRD's case. Dahil buhay na buhay ang hustisya sa Pilipinas, dapat dito siya usigin, hindi sa ICC. Kaya lang, yun na nga, isinorender ng administrasyong ito, and tayo na lang, taong bayan, ang maghukom kung ano ang gagawin natin sa pangyayari ito. Pag-usapan natin ngayon itong si Special Envoy for Transnational Crime, Ambassador Marcos Lacanilaw. Siya ang isa sa pinaka-controversial na political figure ngayon dahil napag-alaman natin siya pala ang pumirma ng mga papeles para tuluyan ng ma-turn over sa ICC si Pangulong Duterte. Ay kung hindi wala siyang pirma, baka hindi matuloy, hindi tatanggapin ng ICC si PRRD sa The Hague, Netherlands. So siya pumirma. At siya literally ang tao na nag-turn over kay Pangulong Duterte sa ICC. So, sino ba si Ambassador Marcos Lacanilaw na kahapon o kagabi ba, na-cite in contempt siya, kinulong na, diniritso sa kulungan, after few hours, pinalabas ni Senate President Escudero. So, sino ba siya? Okay, sinerch ko, no? Ang nakita ko lang sa Google is, bago siya na appoint. He was appointed as Special Envoy for Transnational Crime noong August of 2024. So, bago lang. August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. Magpipitong buwan pa lang. So, bago siya na designate na Special Envoy, lang siya, sa Office of Civil Defense siya, sa National Defense, Department of National Defense, Deputy Administrator for Public Affairs. Medyo hindi masyadong sensitive na posisyon dahil public affairs lang. Parang malit na ahensya ang Office of Civil Defense, Deputy Administrator ka, Public Affairs pa. Kung operation sana, yun, nandun ang aksyon, kailang Public Affairs, mahina. So ngayon, ambassador na siya. Aside from that, wala na akong ibang nakita na niya sa posisyon niya sa gobyerno. As in, wala. May mga article ako nabasa, kailan parang dating sa akin, parang binibuild up ang kanyang pagkatao ngayon. Pinupuri siya. Hanggang ito, meron akong nabasa, post ni Maharlika o Buljakan. So ito, i-share ko lang sa'yo, basahin ko lang. Disclaimer hindi ito fact. Hindi ito, baka maano ako ng fake news. Inabasa ko lang eh. So, basahin ko, kayo nang bala kung maniwala kayo, hindi. Sabi, Buljakan, posted 9 hours ago. Sabi, ang boss nila Kanilaw ay si First Lady Liza. Pananagutin sila. Hindi nakakapagtaka kung bakit pinalaya ni Escudero sila Kanilaw dahil kay Liza Marcos.